Always interested in seeing who comes in. Uh, Again, some of us have probably dowsed a little bit, others are new to it. So what we want to do this morning then is kind of lead you through how to hold the pendulum, uh, questions to ask, and we'll do a couple of little demonstrations. What we want to do is to show you how to hold it securely. It can be held like this, just simply like this. However, as you're working, it may drop. It may fall out of the hand. And if it's a quartz crystal, it may chip or break. So we want to hold it securely. So let's just show you then real quickly how to hold it securely. So hold it in your hands this way. You bring it up, wrap it over the index finger, and back around, and then pinch it between the thumb and index finger, and that will hold your pendulum securely. The pendulum is a tool. It's working through your energy system, your energy, electromagnetic energy, electrical energy is passing through the body into your pendulum. So as we're working here, we're not training the pendulum to ask yes and no questions. We're connecting with our energy system, our higher self, our higher guides, and relating to them. This is how that we would like the pendulum to work. We want to establish the yes and no response. Now, our yes and no response can be several different things. What we want is to basically use the cross pattern here. When you get home, you're sitting at a table or something, you can lay it flat on the table and ask your questions that way. We're saying up and down is a yes. That would be forwards and backwards. And then across is going to be a no response. So what I'd like you to do at this point with your pendulum is to swing it forwards and backwards, and say to your pendulum verbally or in your mind, this is the yes response that I want when I ask a question. Okay, and when you feel that it's got that, stop it, swing it from side to side, and say to the pendulum, this is the no response that I would like to have when I'm asking my questions. And when you feel that that is there, you can stop it. So again, on any question then, you're going to get a yes or no response. Some will go have it go clockwise or counterclockwise for a no, clockwise for yes. It depends on how comfortable you are with one. Basically, the cross pattern is the best one. There are questions that you need to ask before you begin with your pendulum. It is called the may I, can I, should I question. In other words, you're asking the pendulum in response to what you're going to be talking about. May I use the pendulum to demonstrate how to use the pendulum? You'll get a yes or no response. We're getting a yes response. Can I use the pendulum which simply says, do I have the ability to ask this question and get a proper response? And of course, then mine is saying yes here. Then you would ask, should I ask this particular question? Is it an appropriate question to ask at the pendulum? So you'll get yeses and nos. With any one of these three, a no response means not to go there. That's not the question at this point. It may be at some point later. So with your pendulums, you always want to ask this before you begin. So now what I want you to do is ask the pendulum something you know. Your name, your age, something about family. If I ask the pendulum, is my name John Wayne? It simply says, no, it's not. Or if I say, is my name Buffalo Heart, then you'll see it begin to swing in the yes-no pattern. So this is a way to test your pendulum before you get into asking questions. So how many of us have got a response off of that?
Does it have to swing like big swing or?
It doesn't have to be a big swing. Sometimes it's very subtle. A lot of times when I'm asking a question, I have to hold it out here sometimes. But you should get a response. If it seems to be just sitting there, then you're thinking too hard. You're saying, I want it to move, and it's not. You need to be detached from your questions. Okay? So, who got a response, and what was your question to it?
My first question was, what was my name? And it responded. And I also asked it, what was my yogi name? And it responded appropriately. And then I asked it, is my name Barbara Streisand? And it said no.
We can't be who we would like to be. I sometimes ask, am I George Clooney? And it's a definite no. But again, the idea with any of this, before you get into asking a serious question, always test it. Am I 64? And it says yes. Am I 46? You see, it's kind of saying no on that. So, and also the most important thing we want to realize here is our questions need to be serious. I had a wonderful friend who would ask me on occasion, let's go out to eat. Get your pendulum and ask it where we need to go. It's like, no, I'm not going there, because when I ask it, if I'm looking for a lost animal, it's not going to tell me, because I've not been respectful. So again, by asking, may I, is showing the respect to the pendulum and its energy system. If I have 2 job interviews, and I'm, of course, obviously going to both of them, if I ask my pendulum, should I go to the 2 job interviews that I have lined up, it may say yes, or it may go in a circle, because I've asked 2 questions and it's a little bit confused. So the question is, should I go to job interview A? and get a response, and then ask, should I go to job interview B, and get the response. One may be yes, one may be no. Both may be yes. But if you're asking a question that's loaded or has more than one answer, your pendulum is not going to respond. So you want to be specific in asking your questions. If I ask the question, there's no windows out here. If I ask the question, is the sun shining? And I can't see outside, and I don't have a clock. It may say yes, but if I open the door, it's pitch black. So, is the sun shining here? Is a proper question to ask, because somewhere the sun's shining, somewhere it's raining, somewhere it's snowing, somewhere it's hot, somewhere it's cold. So you want to be specific again in asking your questions. We're going to do a couple of demonstrations later, and you get to work with that. Other dowsing systems are the dowsing rods. These are used for the water witching, looking for water, oil, minerals, things of that nature. A lot of your electrical people, Comcast, all of those will have dowsing rods. They have the electrical equipment, of course, but many of them have dowsing rods to locate the electrical cables or water or whatever they are looking for. So if you're using a dowsing rod, you want to hold them not flush with the hand, but a little space between the hand and very loosely, so that it's able to move. And in programming dowsing rods, it's the same. You want to get a yes and no response. So I would ask the dowsing rods to give me a yes response. And so you get X marks the spot, kind of. So it pulls together, and so this is a yes. This would be a no response. Or if you're looking at someone's aura, can I use your aura at this point? So if I'm using a dowsing rod, I want it to open up when I get into your auric field, and my intent is that I'm standing further away from you than I am at this point. But when I walk toward you, then it's going to start opening up when I get into your field. So you can use 2, you can use 1. If I were to ask, where is the back door? It points to the back door. And I'm holding it loosely enough that I'm not, if I was going to say back door and this way, but you see it's show me the back door, and it slowly is moving to the back door. So this is another way to use in dowsing. Another tool would be a bobber. Generally, your rod has a coil or 3 on the end, and you're asking, give me a yes response. And so you see there's a yes response, and give me a no response. And you can influence it to say yes and no. So if you're standing, you want to lock your arm so that you're not doing this. Or if you're at a table, elbow on a table.
Recently, I overheard a conversation. Someone was explaining how to use the pendulum, and the person had recommended that they not select a crystal, that they select something like one of the metal pieces.
Hmm.
And so I wanted to know your opinion about that.
Again, that's up to the individual. I use them both. You get different energies coming through. These, of course, are metals, so they're uh, working on a different level than these. These are uh, earth stones, so you're working with the electromagnetic system. Here, you're generally working with the electrical. So it's a matter of what you like to use. Um, and these particular ones are designed for different purposes. They do different things. Each one will do something a little bit different. You can get your basic responses from it. These are the French Egyptian school. You can use a washer and a string. Anything with weight can be a pendulum. There are times when I'm out and I don't have my pendulum with me, and I'm wearing a necklace, and so I'm holding it so that it is perfectly balanced, and I can ask my yes and no questions with this. Preferably, you want to have your pendulum, but when you don't, that is one other way to do that. Other questions?
I was wondering also when you had mentioned that you were explaining to steady your arm or your hand when you're using it, but over time, can you actually maybe mentally or vibrationally influence the answer?
You can always influence the answer. So again, you want to be detached. So I'm asking a question here that I really need an answer to. And so you've asked your question, but you're saying in your mind, I wonder what the response is going to be. So that way you've distracted from that. A friend of mine, uh, when she needs clarity using a pendulum or in her other energy work, and she's not getting it, she's getting cross responses, she will sing the Yellow Submarine.
Ah,
And so that way her pendulum, or however she's working, will give her a correct response. There's a Native American story, and I'll just shortly with that. Uh, Medicine man, chief, and the chief's daughter. The chief's daughter was sick, uh, and so the medicine man runs across the camp or the chief runs across the camp to the medicine man. Come quickly, my daughter is dying. So he runs back to his daughter, and the medicine man is slowly gathering his equipment that he needs: drums, rattles, herbs, all of these things. Gathers them up and walks slowly over to the chief's tent. Uh, does what he does with the chief's daughter: the rattle, the drum, the herbs, chanting, calling in spirit, all of that. Packs everything together and heads back to his medicine lodge. The chief comes running. Come back! My daughter is worse. You know, I think she's dying, really dying at this point. So, chief runs back. Medicine man takes his time, goes back, and he does his ritual, his ceremony. And all the time he's doing that, he is saying, "I don't care." He's not influencing the outcome. He's concerned, obviously, but he's separating himself from the situation. So with your pendulum, yes, you can make it say what you want it to say, but you don't want to do that. So you kind of step aside and allow the energy to come through. It may give you a no response when you want a yes response, but it's a no response. Let it go. Have another friend real quickly who was interested in dating a person, and she had known him before and she was not sure. So she did several different types of dowsing, divination before she got the response that she wanted. So don't do that with your pendulum. Again, be serious with it. It will give you the correct answer. Yesterday, I getting ready to come to work, and I had been up and carried stuff to the garbage, and I had my keys in my pocket. And then when I'm getting ready to go a half hour later, I can't find my keys. Where are my keys? So asking the pendulum, is it outside? No, it's not outside. Is it in the apartment? It gives me a yes response because I was in a location close to where it was. It was outside the apartment. It had fallen on the floor before I got into the apartment. So stepping outside into the hallway are my keys in the hallway. And so yes, I get a yes response, and I'm looking everywhere and I can't find it still. Someone had found it and laid it on the windowsill. So it's not only a question of asking the pendulum, it's a question of being aware, of observing.
Can I use the pendulum, let's say, to test whether certain types of food is good for me?
Yes, you
Muscle
can. You want to do that. A lot of people go to the grocery store and you may see them using their pendulum. Is this fruit optimal for my health? Is this packaged product to my benefit? These kinds of things. Some people don't want a long one, so they will hold it on a shorter leash so that no one else can see it. But yes, you want to ask, is this good food going to be beneficial for my optimal health? Questions of that nature. Vitamins, minerals, water. Here's a good response here then as we're talking about that. So we have three types of water here. We have crystal water, we have a cup of coffee, and we have Ice Mountain. So my question then, having asked should I question? And we ask that in the beginning, so it's valid at this point. So if I would ask, is this coffee beneficial for my health? Should I drink coffee?
Yes.
It's making up its mind here. And it says no. It's like, it's got caffeine in it. I need it. You know, I'm a Coke drinker. I was a Coke drinker. I'm not at the moment. But so it says it's not really good for me. If I ask, is it possible that I could have an occasional cup of coffee? I get a yes response. And it's an occasional thing. It's not an everyday thing. So then I would ask, is this Ice Mountain water beneficial for my health? And of course I get a yes response. If I ask, is the crystal water beneficial for my health? I get a a little bit bigger response. So the question then is the crystal water better for me to drink? And I'm getting yes. Is this more beneficial than crystal water? So I get a no response. Who wants to try it? Who wants to step up and ask the question here? So, yeah.
Should I say it in my head or say it out loud?
Either you can say it either way. Let's just add that to
Okay.
the mix there.
Okay. Is this coffee good for my health?
It's like this is my life. This is my life here.
That's why you have to switch to decaf.
Is this water better for me than the coffee?
So she gets a yes response.
Is the crystal water more beneficial to my health?
So she gets a yes response. So the question was asked, if this were decaf coffee, would it be a little bit better for my health? So yes, it would. I don't like decaf. So, but and that's not important. What we want is not always the correct thing.
What does it mean when the motion just vibrates?
When it's just vibrating,
Just vibrates.
it's undecided. And a lot of times when it's doing that, again, we want to rethink the question, be more specific with the response to it. In other words, so if I'm looking for a lost animal, I have a map. That's an entirely different thing, but I'm looking for a lost animal, and I'm asking on the map to show me where the animal is, and it will give me a cross-reference and pinpoint. This is where the animal is. So if I call the client up and say, the animal is at the corner of Montgomery and 5th, and the client goes there, she's across town, but if she goes there and she's asking, has anyone seen my lost dog? Someone may say, yes, I saw it a while ago, but it, looking around, it's not in the neighborhood. So you've got an idea, okay, the animal is in this area, but he's walking or he's running. So you may ask the question, where will Rover be tomorrow at 12 o'clock? And go through the process with your map and get your cross-reference where Rover will be. Call your client and say, go to this location tomorrow at this time. And they will go and their Rover will be. And she may or may not get him because he's been out for a while. I've done this on several occasions with clients, and told one woman to go down this road about this time, and you will find your cat. And so the cat runs across in front of the car. She gets out. She coaxes it to come to her. She gets it and puts it in the car. So again, you want to be specific about asking your particular questions. How about using, again, your pendulum to check yourself? How do I use the pendulum to, say, check my chakra system? So you will hold it, everybody hold it here, and ask, is my crown chakra functioning properly? How many get a yes response?
Mine seems to be just circle. Oops, I think it just changed.
Yeah, you're kind of getting
I'm getting
a little no response there. So ask your pendulum then to correct your crown chakra if it is off.
What do you mean?
Ask it energetically to realign the chakra.
Oh, it can do that?
It can do that. And this is a more advanced class, but this is just something to look at this point. And so you see you're getting a yes response now. So it's done this thing. So going down through the chakra system, you can check each chakra. Is it the right color? Is it open? Is it out of alignment? Questions like this, and then you can ask your pendulum to realign, readjust the chakra so that it's working properly. Okay, I'm looking for an herbal remedy. So I'm laying it out, base toward me, and I would ask, is my body in need of an herbal remedy? So I'm holding it at the center. It says yes. So I would ask it then, what particular herb would be beneficial for me at this time? And then it will swing, and it says black walnut. So it's going to be swinging in one of these directions that will align up with one of the herbal remedies or whatever you're using. So you want to have it in front of you, and you want to ask it to what you need. You might ask to what degree, how many drops of herbal remedy do I need, or how many pills, things of that nature. And it's going to give you your correct response for that. So when you go home, have time, you're relaxed, you're comfortable, play with it seriously, but play with it. Ask questions about the family. How many children do I have? On a scale of 1 to 10, what age is Jennifer? What age is John? Simple things like that, and the more you practice, the more you do these exercises, the easier it's going to be when you're asking those other important questions. You can get a card deck, 5 cards, numbers, aces, kings, and have it face down and ask your pendulum to show you where the ace is.
Oh.
And turn it over and see if it was the ace. If it wasn't, then make some up and separate yourself from it again. I don't care. And ask where the king is. The more you do that, and trusting, having faith in your pendulum to give you the correct answer, you're going to find that that is going to give you the correct answer. Okay. Don't do it while you drive. Okay. Are there anything we haven't covered that you need to have information on?
I guess I have one question because I've been hesitating while using a pendulum. Is my concern that it's not coming from within, but like an external force that can influence it.
Mm-hmm. So you're asking, yeah, your intent is in asking your questions is for your highest good.
Mm-hmm.
So you're connecting with your higher self, your inner guides. You may connect with Buddha or Jesus or some higher entity, but you're always concerned with your highest good, your highest interest, and again, without influencing. And you'll be surprised at the responses that you will get from your pendulum. There are times you may not have your pendulum with you. You may not have a necklace. Another way to get a response is fingers. Hold your fingers together.
I have difficulty with that. I've been trying.
Yeah, so the other two here, ask it to, if your name is what it is. You'll if it's a no, you'll get a response where that the fingers open and you can slide through. If it's a yes, your fingers are going to remain tight. So this is dowsing in its own way.
If you're really upset or like angry and you want to use like your pendulum, like would your like energy like affect it? Like
At that point, I would not use it. I would do some deep breathing. I would watch a movie, listen to some nice music. Because if you're, I'm so mad at so and so, you're not going to get a correct response.
yeah, no, I
So
was just wondering if like your energy would affect.
Well, but you're not attached.
yeah, because you're
You're too emotionally attached.
yeah, your energy is too embroiled in this situation. So you want to, so go do something else, come back later, and then, yeah, you can ask your friend also.
I'm a yoga teacher and a Reiki practitioner, and I've adopted this habit. Usually you're upset or you're emotional. That's why you're asking the question.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of make myself go and sit and do long, deep breathing. And I'll even, there's a Reiki meditation I'll practice first before I ask the question. So I can try to get the truest possible answer. So, and always give thanks.
Mm-hmm. Always.
For the answer, always. But yeah, you're asking questions because there's an emotional attachment.
Yeah.
I try to
So,
clear that before I ask the question.
yeah, so again, get a friend to ask the question for you, or after you've settled down and you feel relaxed and comfortable, then ask the question. Never ask the question, okay, I lost my keys. I got to be here in 20 minutes. I'm a little upset. So,
I don't think that's gonna.
so I got still using the pendulum, but I done some deep breathing. I've separated myself. It's going to find them. There was one day that I was coming to the store, and I couldn't find my keys. And I'm 20 minutes from the store before it opens, and I can't find my keys. What do? I take my pendulum and I go into 3 rooms that I know the possibility that I laid my keys down and I wasn't aware of it. So in each room, I'm asking a question, are my keys here? And it's giving me a yes response, but it's like, it's not there. It's not there. In each room,
Your keys. Keep losing them.
I have an issue with that. I have to work on that. But so in each room, in each place that I could possibly have left my keys, they're not there, but the pendulum says they are. So what happens is that my guides say, well, we're just going to kick your butt. Under my wallet are my keys. So everywhere I went, the pendulum said, your keys are here. So, and I was teaching a pendulum class that day. So, and so we're, that's a little bit funny, but it's but be serious, definitely serious in any questions that you're going to be asking. And again, if you want to take time to sit down, write out the question. Does it look right? Does it sound right? Do I need to be more specific? And then ask the question that you have decided is going to give you the best response. And then when it says no, don't try it again. Don't ask it to make it don't ask it to make it a yes. Be serious with it. Get your yes, no responses. Go with those responses. And your pendulum will continue to work. But if you've asked a question and it said no, it's like, okay, I'm going to go do it anyway. Well, you've disrespected not the pendulum. This is a tool. You've disrespected your inner guidance that has told you, don't do that. And so the next time you ask the question, is it going to give you a correct response?
No, probably not.
Probably not.
It's mad at you.
Well, yes, So again, be serious with your questions. Be respectful with your pendulum. It's a tool, but it's a valuable tool. And go with what it says. Do what your inner guidance, your guides, your angels, whoever you're connecting with, do what they say, because it is in your highest interest. The pendulum's going to give you, crystal pendulum will give you the correct response. Crystals, gemstones.
If it needs to be cleansed?
Oh, they will need to be cleansed. Yes, your crystals will need to be cleansed after each session, because it's going to it's like it's picked up stuff. It's going to carry it to the next one. So again, cleanse it. Uh, these brass ones, some of these are self-clearing, which simply means that yes, they are self-clearing. They will clear themselves, but do it anyway. If you don't do it, then when you're doing something somewhere else, you'll forget to cleanse. Your sitting, for instance, is self-clearing. I still clear it, because if I don't, then when I'm using something else, I want clear it, and a lot of times I will, in wearing my necklaces or whatever, or bracelets, I will take it off at night and I will forget that I've had a rough day. I need to clear it. I put it on the next morning, especially my necklaces, and I start choking. It's like, okay, I didn't clear it. I need to clear it. So yeah, with your crystals, gemstones, you will need to clear those. And again, some of these are self-clearing, some are not. You'll need to clear. However, even if it's self-clearing, keep it a practice.
So clear it after using it.
Clear it after using it, yeah. Before, so you've asked this set of questions, and then you're going to go, and if you're working with the clients, you've tested the client to see where you need to work, things of that nature. And then you've got another client coming in at 11 o'clock, and you're running late. Clear it. Sage it, white light, however you clear your healing tools, be sure and clear it. Set it aside to be used later, or set aside to be cleared and use another pendulum or something of that nature. But yeah, always you will need to clear your pendulums.
How would you be able to identify in particular with the metals what their special abilities are?
We have over on the shelf over there, there's the little cards in front of the pendulums that will describe each particular pendulum and give you what they will do. Some are the ice, super ice is 6. Some 7. Some of these are good for long distance, specifically. Different techniques. Some of them are therapeutic. So the instructions will tell you what they're good for. And so this one may not say that it's for long distance, but it can be used. Your quartz crystals can be used for long distance. It's your intent.
Yes.
So you're connecting, even if you're working with your client and they're on the table, you're not touching them, so you got this much distance between you. That's long distance.
Yeah, it's distance still.
There's a distance there. So, okay. Other questions? We're about out of time here. Everyone sufficiently.
You said in a pinch you could use your necklace. How would you use that so that it swings properly?
The necklace?
Yes.
I would be assured that it's not a bulky one. It's light. And you would also want to be sure that the hanging piece is centered, and so that it's going to move, and you would treat it just as you would a pendulum. Again, it's carry your pendulum with you. But in a pinch, it works for me, and you'll have to decide if it works for you or not.